Hello everyone, and welcome to Dream Team. I'm Trent Lenkarski.
And I'm Alice Langlois.
And we're here today on episode 13 of Dream Team.
And if this episode is getting to you a little late, it's because Trent and I have been experiencing various climate phenomena.
Yes.
You may or may not be hearing, rain sounds in the background?
Yes, I am experiencing the lovely hurricane earthquake of Los Angeles 2023. We're having like a weird hurricane thing, and there's a little earthquake also.
Special random event.
Yes. My first time experiencing an earthquake.
I've got some lovely wildfire smoke in the air and awful heat waves that have postponed my ability to record, but
yes,
we are doing our darndest to bring you this cozy podcast.
Rain, sun, sleet, earthquakes, hurricanes, or heat waves, we're going to be recording this podcast.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it doesn't really roll off the tongue as nice as the post office thing, but that's all right.
No. I mean, it's in character for us with our email and all.
Clunky terminology.
And this is going to be preceding a special episode for 2 weeks from now. So if you want to be able to add some input and participate in our next special episode, stick around to the end to find out what it is.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. I'm excited for it.
Me too.
I guess without further ado, do you have any cool dreams you want to talk about?
I have a doozy for you.
Oh boy.
I couldn't believe I had forgotten about this dream when I was looking through my notes. It isn't from that long ago. It's not quite a vintage Alice dream yet. It's from a little less than a year ago. But yeah, I completely forgot about it. And when I read it, I was just like, this sounds like a movie script or something. Like, I can't believe I had a dream that was like that coherent. But I remembered every bit of it. So I'm really excited to share it with you.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear it.
So this is from September of last year, and it takes place on a little place called the planet Earth.
Whoa.
On Earth, one day, the sky turns dark to reveal the stars, as if the atmosphere just turned off. In the distance, a giant upside-down pyramid slowly approaches the planet. People begin running outside to watch. The pyramid flips over and lands on Earth, and people immediately start running over to it and climbing on it. There are staircases on each side. Hesitant at first, I start going up the stairs. The pyramid eventually lifts back off the ground and rotates upside down, so we gather on the platform made by the base. The pyramid leaves the atmosphere and comes to a stop just outside of it, and the platform sort of like pitched forward, like rotated forward, so it's facing the planet. And this like floating ring kind of appeared in front of it, which seemed to be charging some sort of laser.
Ooh.
I can't exactly remember if some kind of like alien creature manifested nearby, but there might have been some kind of alien that showed up in orbit unrelated to the rest of what was going on, but we were basically in space at this point. Me and the people on the pyramid hear a loud, disembodied female voice say, "Your account is being terminated."
Oh.
We all start freaking out because we have no idea what this means, but can assume the consequences are destruction of our planet or just generally something very bad.
Mm-hmm.
I somehow find controls on the satellite pyramid. Not for the laser, but I do find an intercom of some kind. I ask the voice what's going on. The entity seems annoyed at our interruption, but also amused in sort of a condescending way. She half-heartedly explains that whatever being, possibly that alien creature I thought I saw, owned this planet, stopped paying for its quote-unquote account, or otherwise communicating with the company it bought Earth from, So she was here to destroy it and collect resources.
No.
We were basically like an asset that some other like intergalactic creature owned, and we had no idea.
Oh, jeez.
We beg her to stop and explain that there is so much life on this planet, but she seems unfazed and directs the sights of the laser at the planet. Frantically thinking of how to stop this interstellar account manager, I realize the sympathetic route is not going to work. I ask if any one of us can inherit ownership of the account. The being isn't sure and again seems annoyed. I ask her if she can ask her boss. She reluctantly agrees. Her boss somehow becomes present in the situation. They are both still these kind of disembodied voices, and we can't see where they're coming from, but they sound like they're coming from everywhere. The boss offers us some alien-looking food, which appears on tables on the pyramid platform. The other people are nervous to try it, but I take a bite out of one and say it's good, hoping to get off on the right foot with the alien entities. We chat for a bit, and the boss seems a little more interested in my plea. Still in a condescending way, but she seems to have a fondness for other life forms in the way that a person might find animals cute. She says that we could theoretically inherit the account, but we would have to regularly pay whatever space currency that they use, which we obviously don't have. Scrambling for ideas, I proposed a deal. Instead of paying, we agreed to let our planet be constantly watched as a sort of reality TV for the rest of the universe. The boss is delighted by the idea, and we make arrangements, and eventually the laser powers down, and those who climbed on the pyramid are let back down to the Earth. And this part of the dream is kind of interesting because I don't really, like, play a role in it anymore. Like, the dream kept happening, but I wasn't really, like, I guess, like, playing the character of myself, and from this point forward, I'm sort of just, like, an observer. And I think you've described dreams like this, Trent, where you're just sort of, like, watching what's happening, but you're not really, like, involved.
Yeah, definitely. I've had quite a few of those.
So, yeah, at this point it changes, and, like, it's not about me anymore, and I'm just sort of, like, watching it. Kind of like a reality TV show. For millions of years, eventually forgotten by its own residents, other beings in the universe watch the goings-on of planet Earth. They vote on things, cause certain events to happen, and rate things from the comfort of their own interstellar couches. Eons later, something has changed. A bunch of people in an observation deck on Earth that kind of looked like an air traffic control tower, see some kind of white spherical ship approach the atmosphere, and the sky once again turns dark. The massive machine sights a laser right at the glass shield of the observation deck. The staff on the deck starts scrambling into action, confused that there is no being this time to announce what's going on. One of the staff, a young captain, stops everyone. She tries to assure them that the ship means no harm. The other crew are skeptical at first, but this person seems to be at the highest ranking because they all eventually concede to her. She stands at the window for a bit and looks conflicted. The ship isn't doing anything. She walks out of the room for a second, and there's some kind of flashback of someone promising to make something for her. Eventually, she comes back and lifts something up in front of the laser beam, and when it fires, it bounces back at the ship, and a huge portion of the ship disintegrates. The ship leaves, and the crew looks confused. Sometime later, the captain is driving a car with a dark-skinned woman named Prosa in the passenger seat. Prosa asks, in a kind but accusing way, why things have been going badly. She points out a recent fire in a hospital where none of the people inside seem to care or want to help the patients. The captain seems tired and defeated. She explains that there haven't been other real people on the planet for hundreds of years. There was a massive extinction event called the Lombard extinction that killed off nearly every life form on the planet. The captain goes on to explain that before this happened, one of her crew/family members showed her how to make holograms and control them as an extension of her mind. They were the one in the flashback promising to make her some, but something happened to them before they were able to. The captain learned how to do it on her own, and eventually started replacing every living thing that died with a hologram. The atmosphere and gravity were also weakening on the planet, so she created hologram objects as well. She isn't sure if she is even real anymore, but she just knows she essentially has control of the entire planet. She explains that she just got tired of managing it all, and things started falling apart. As she says this, the car she and Proza are in, and the cars ahead of them on the road start to float a little bit, but continue to move forward as if nobody noticed. Proza looks alarmed, but the captain reminds her that there is barely any gravitational pull anymore. And then I don't know how it was really revealed to me as just sort of an observer, but it was revealed somehow that Proza is the account manager from the beginning of the dream. This sort of like timeless interstellar being that can manifest herself in different ways. And she had been checking in with the captain for many years to ensure the continued narrative and entertainment value of Earth. The white ship was sent to destroy it as the ratings were tanking below the required numbers for too long, and the captain knew it. She wasn't sure if her planet of fake people was worth saving, but she also wasn't ready to lose her home. As the cars floated ahead, the captain finally lets go of her long-dead planet, and she proposed to Proza, and that's the end of the dream.
Oh. Wow. That was a wild one.
Yeah, I was like, wait, I dreamed this? It was like very, yeah, it was very intense and really sad at the end, but like interesting. And like kind of hilarious, like hilariously capitalistic, I guess.
Yeah.
Like you guys are only allowed to like be on this planet if you have some sort of like financial value to us aliens. So.
Yeah.
Dance.
That's interesting. I love the beginning. Your account is terminated. Wait.
Yeah, she had like one of those like Siri voices, you know?
Yeah.
And we were all just like, what is going on?
It's interesting that people immediately went up this pyramid without knowing like anything about it.
Yeah, we were all, I remember just like a bunch of people were just like, this thing just landed, let's all climb on it. And then like, oh no, we're getting launched into space. And like now that I've read it out loud, like it is kind of interesting that if the point of that pyramid was to like basically like disintegrate or like collect resources from Earth, and like why did it land in the first place, you know? Or maybe it was like checking it out or something, like looking for the owner. I don't know. Yeah.
You had to get close to scan the Earth's QR code.
Something like that.
Or something, yeah.
Also like screw the original owner who like stopped paying his account or whatever.
Oh yeah. Yeah, wait, who's the original?
I know. Get his ass.
We have to find. Yeah.
And yeah, I kind of like got the impression that like because the captain, like the last living person on Earth, and then this like alien being had been like meeting for so long, I guess there was like some sort of like budding relationship there. So like the proposal at the end wasn't like totally random. I think they were just like two like very isolated living things in the universe.
Yeah.
And like I don't know, I just like fell in love with each other or something. And also, I don't know, it kind of made sense to me because I think like the captain didn't really have any reason to be on Earth anymore because it was all fake.
Yeah. Maybe that's why the ratings were tanking.
Yeah, well, it was because like she couldn't, because she was trying to like, I kind of mentioned it with like the hospital fire, but like she couldn't, it's like the most extreme multitasking because she was trying to like basically make everybody seem like they were doing like natural and organic things, but like for an entire planet, and like you can't focus on that many things. So stuff was just going wrong, and she couldn't keep up with like all these holograms like malfunctioning and like these narratives that she couldn't complete and stuff. So like just it would be like watching a reality TV show and just like seeing like things like glitching out and like not making sense. And so people were like, what is going on like with this show? Sort of like Truman Show style, like breaking out of the sky or whatever. Yeah.
The character's just sitting there for a whole episode not doing anything.
Yeah, no, like literally that was kind of the impression I got, like what was happening. And so they were going to be like, this show is canceled, goodbye.
Dang.
Yeah.
That was a really good one.
Thank you.
Very good dream.
Have you had any interesting ones?
Yes. Last time you made fun of me because I hadn't had any in a while, and the
I
day
did not
after
make-
we recorded.
I'm sorry for making fun of you.
No. I mean, I made fun of myself too because I can't control it. But very, very shortly after that episode, I actually had a dream. So.
Oh, cool.
Yes. So yeah. Much different than yours, but I will read it. I'm kind of just reading from my notes, so it might be a little confusing, but we'll see. So I had a dream that I had a big party back at my parents' house in Massachusetts. There were apparently a lot of people there, and there were some people that were doing some drugs.
In your parents' house? Were your parents there?
Apparently. No, I don't think so. Because then my note says, timeline gets confusing, but then I was back in college or back here in California, but I was packing to go back to Massachusetts, so going back home. There's a short scene of me packing, and then I was, back at my parents' house. So I guess there's just a random flashback to me before I go home. But anyway, so I'm back home at my parents' house in Massachusetts, and I see, so it's apparently after the party because I see like there's some drug paraphernalia like on the roof, and I have to like get it.
Oh no.
So
oh no.
Yeah. So
who left their bong on the roof?
I don't know who did it. But so I had to go, and I don't think it wasn't even anything. I don't even know what specifically it was. It was just like a bag like full of stuff, and I was like, oh, this is like bad stuff and I can't have this here. Like if it was a specific drug, I would say, but in my head it was just like a bag with like a little box in it or something, and I was like, oh, this is like really bad, I got to get rid of this.
That's like what they teach you in elementary school or like grade school or whatever, where it's just like anything that's like a mysterious white powder, that could be drugs.
Yeah.
We won't tell you what, but like if you see it, then like tell the police.
Yes. Exactly. So also, this is just a side note of reality. At my house, we have like security cameras outside. Like I think it's like Blink or the Ring doorbell, whatever. We have like a couple of those like around our house, just for the woods, just to like watch wildlife and stuff like that. But so in the dream, I had the knowledge of this, and I was like, oh well, I have to get rid of these mysterious drugs, so I'm gonna go like put them in the woods or whatever. I'm gonna go like hide them in the woods somewhere. So, and then to avoid that, I had to like break one of my dad's like security camera things that we had. But
so it wouldn't like see you?
Yeah. But also in the dream, in reality, there's like, I don't know what, 3 or 4 cameras, but in my dream there was like hundreds of them. So I was like,
oh my gosh.
It's like I broke like 1 or 2 of them. And then I guess I went outside and hid it. And then yeah, so I guess I think because there were so many of them, I was like, oh, like even though some of them are broken, my dad's not going to check because there's like 100 different cameras. Like he's not going to notice if like a couple of them are broken.
You wouldn't check 100 cameras. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess.
It's wild.
Yeah. So that was pretty much that part. Then it gets a little bit sad because my dog Jinx, she was alive in the dream. So I saw her and I was like, oh,
Jinxie.
Yeah.
It was nice to see her.
Yeah, but it was like sad because it was like I like took her outside for a walk, and then I was bringing her back in, and then she just like out of nowhere like jumped at a wall and like got a little hurt just because she's like, I guess my memories of her are being kind of old and confused. So in the dream that kind of transferred over, and I also have it was like a clone or different version of her, so I guess that too.
Wait, like there were 2 of her?
No, just the one in the dream. But I think I just wrote that.
Like you knew she was different.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Just a weird reality.
Yeah.
Just have a note that I like carried her upstairs, and then I went up to my room, and then I was just like because I like flew out to Massachusetts in the dream, so I was just like unpacking my stuff, and then my room just didn't make sense like spatially. Just like my bed
That's
was
classic.
Yeah, my bed was like right in the middle of the room, which like physically doesn't make sense for my room shape. But yeah, so I was like unpacking stuff, and then that pretty much ends that part of the dream. And then the second part was much shorter and just a thing my brain wanted to do, I guess. And it says, ended with a weird scene from a new Batman movie. The Joker was going to put a huge glass box over a block in the city. There were red X's spray painted on the ground where it would be lowered. People running around and panicking. And that's it. Just out of nowhere.
I love that.
So
I love how, like, nobody was, like, gonna stop him. Like he had the decency to, like, warn everybody. That's, like, like very un-Joker-like. Where it's just like, hey, in, like, 5 days, I'm gonna put this glass box over this city block.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
And people were just like, like, running around. But it's like, I don't even think it was being lowered. It was just, like, a warning. And it was just one block of a city, so you could, like, evacuate that. But
hey, Christopher Nolan, if you're listening to this, some real good stuff in this episode so far.
Christopher Nolan, you're gonna want to hear this. Yeah. If anyone has any connections, I'd love to get this script to Christopher Nolan. It's not really a script; it's just the idea, but I'm sure he'll love it. I'm kidding. But yeah, so just a weird dream about me hiding drugs and breaking security cameras. And my dog.
I love that.
And just a little tail end thing with the Joker. So
little bonus scene at the end there. I love that.
Yeah, just completely unrelated scene.
In another city, somewhere far away.
Yes.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. That's so funny.
You're welcome. I'm glad I had a dream to bring to the table this episode, or a newer dream.
Yeah, I need to start being better about recording my recent dreams. I don't think I'll ever get low on my secret stash, but I have been having dreams lately that I've just been, like, forgetting to fully write down, so it doesn't really end up being worth, like, I just don't have enough to talk about.
Yeah.
But the other night I did have a dream where I almost got my arm bitten off by a bear, but I don't remember anything else about it.
Oh, jeez.
He was just sort of, like, gently trying to bite my arm off, and I just started, like, I just remembered that thing where they say, like, if like a bear or like a cougar is approaching you, you're supposed to, like, make a lot of loud sounds. So I just started yelling at it, and then it stopped, and then I woke up.
Interesting.
Yeah, a little bonus dream for me.
Yeah. And I had one last week that just doesn't really make sense or is enough to talk about. I guess I'll say it. It was just like
we got bonus streams this episode for coming in so late.
Both of us have bonus streams. I'll read it. It was right there. I had a dream that my friend Alex Martins, that he was making a movie. And there's like an opening shot with a bunch of people walking into the woods. It says one was a cult religious leader type guy who wanted Alex to leave the woods. And then they all ended up going into like a visitor center of an underground trail / spelunking area. And it ended with Alex disappearing from the group. So just a weird little thing. But that's it.
Little vignette.
Yes.
Love it.
Yeah. And I wasn't in that at all. Just
watching,
observing my friend make a movie.
I love that. That's so funny. A lot of like in this episode, movie and TV related dreams.
Yeah. Interesting theme.
The other theme, and I don't know if you did this on purpose, but your dream ties in really well with today's dream fact.
Yes. I did not do that on purpose.
In terms of usage of drugs.
Yes.
So, take a drag for this dream fact, you guys, because it's about weed.
Yeah, get a big old marijuana stick of marijuana and just light it on fire and take a big old hit of that.
Take a fat rip from your favorite bong.
Yeah.
And buckle in for this.
Put on some Jimi Hendrix in the background, but turn it down a little so you can hear us.
Yeah, not too loud.
Yeah.
But this dream fact was actually brought to us by one of our listeners, kind of. We got a question in our inbox, which just a reminder,
yes.
If you don't have any dreams to send us, but you want to tell us other cool dream stuff that you know about, or you want to know about, or you're wondering about, send us an email about it, because we might talk about it on the episode.
Yeah. You can send them to dreamteampodcastsubmissions@gmail.com.
And this one is brought to us from Michael, who wrote us and said, "Sometimes I smoke cannabis, and when I do, it's usually for several days in a row before I stop. Currently, I haven't had cannabis for 3 weeks now, and I've noticed 2 things. After smoking for several days in a row, I stop dreaming altogether. And after I stop smoking, my dreams become weirdly vivid and intense."
Oh.
Wildly vivid and intense, actually. I misread that. "Does cannabis suppress your REM sleep? Why are my dreams so much more intense when sober?" And I thought this was particularly interesting because I have never smoked weed, but I have heard from my friends who do that they specifically, they have told me that they don't dream when they are smoking weed very often. And I don't know if this is anything you've heard about.
Yeah, I asked some friends too, and they said the same thing pretty much.
The only thing that I hadn't heard of was the other part, like having more vivid dreams after you stop.
Yeah.
So I decided to look into it because I've only ever just heard anecdotal accounts of the former, not the latter.
Yeah. I have, I don't know if you want to do this now or towards the end of this part, but I have like a quote from my friend.
No, you can read it. I'd love to hear.
Okay, yeah. So I asked, and he said, anonymous friend of mine said, "When I'm high, my dreams are non-existent unless I just watched something or was listening to music." And then he says, like, one time I got high and fell asleep listening to music and had some really trippy dreams. And then I said, interesting, thank you. And then I was like, anything specific you remember about the dream? And he said, TBH, not too much, but I remember it gave me an idea for a short film premise. A short film premise that I want to do to that specific song he fell asleep listening to, where a guy befriends his sleep paralysis demon. So
that's really fun. I like that. That is really interesting.
And then I don't really have any direct quotes, but I've also heard from other friends that they tend to not dream after they smoke.
Okay.
Or ingest.
That's really interesting. I actually did look into this, and I went to sleepfoundation.org and some other websites that were like university websites that had studies. Specifically looking into this phenomenon, because I guess it is something that a lot of people experience. And it's not entirely conclusive, but a lot of studies think that marijuana can possibly reduce dreaming due to REM suppression. So REM is a lighter phase of sleep, and it's when you do all your dreaming. And so there are some studies that think that somehow the cannabis is suppressing that specific phase of sleep, and you're just sleeping in the deeper phases where you don't dream. And then the other possibility is that smoking weed just makes you sleep better, and when you sleep better, you spend more time in that deeper sleep, and that just makes you forget your dreams more.
Yeah.
And you're most likely to remember your dreams if you wake up close to or during REM sleep. So if you're not doing that and getting a full phase of sleep, you just might not remember your dreams. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you're not dreaming, but you might not just be able to remember them as easily.
Interesting. I guess that makes sense.
And then there are some interesting other things I learned along the way, which is this is more likely to occur, and I think Michael mentioned this, the person who sent in the question, but this is most likely to occur if you're smoking every day, as opposed to like, once a week or like a couple times a week. And there's this weird like threshold of like smoking weed sometimes actually like, really does improve the way that you sleep. But if you do smoke every single day, it actually makes your sleep worse. Like it can negatively affect your sleep if you use it too much, which kind of makes sense, because if you're really not dreaming at all, maybe it could be a signal that like your sleep patterns are being disrupted. But sometimes this can be a good thing. For example, if you have nightmares a lot, or if you have something like PTSD, not dreaming and not remembering your dreams can be pretty awesome.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
And yeah, so like for some people that could actually be a good thing. And then I actually did find out about the last thing that Michael mentioned, which was like your dreams being crazy like after you stop. And it actually has a name. It's called REM rebound. And it's a phenomenon where people have more intense dreams after stopping smoking, and it can last for a couple days or a couple months.
Interesting.
And it's also not like super widely studied, and like it's not really like sure if this is like, has this happened to enough people to warrant it being like, super like scientifically recognized, but I think it's happened to enough people that there's a name for it, and a lot of people have experienced it. So they think that like, if it is true that your REM sleep is being suppressed or disrupted in some way, and then all of a sudden it's not anymore, your brain is just like going a little crazy, like being a little bit more active at night,
trying to play catch up from not using
something like that. And
receptors or something.
Yeah, I guess it can like sometimes I guess it can happen for too long, and then people will get in this cycle of like smoking and then having these crazy dreams and not wanting to have them, and they're not going away, so you start smoking again, and then you have this rebound again. So they're trying to figure out like, is there something that you can do to like not have it happen as bad, or do you just have to like wait it out? But it's definitely a thing. So Michael, you may be experiencing REM rebound.
Yeah.
But who's to say?
It's curious that there's not really like an in-depth study on it.
There are some. I think a lot of the ones that thought that weed suppressed REM sleep are older, and there are some newer ones that are like, it doesn't really suppress it, you're just sleeping deeper for longer.
Okay. I guess, that makes sense.
So I think it's more that there are studies, but the newer ones are sort of starting to disagree with the older ones, and so now we're kind of in a place where like we're not entirely sure what's going on. But it seems like a lot of people in like universities and stuff are looking into it.
Okay. We don't know what's going on, but something is going on. That's the kind of vibe it seems
Welcome
like.
to science.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that's generally where science is at these days. But yeah, very 420 friendly dream fact.
Yes. That was interesting. I like that.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. And also like it was cool to like tell my friends who have said that they've experienced that, like, oh yeah, no, that's like totally a real thing. And like science knows about it.
Yeah, I felt like a little nerd in my group chat. I was like, do you marijuana users have any information about this?
You weed smokers, you potheads.
You can send it to me anonymously so as to not alert the other members of the group.
Oh, I hope nobody knows I'm a total stoner.
I liked having like a fan question for a dream fact.
Yeah. I really like that too. This isn't something that I would like, probably because I don't smoke weed, but it isn't something that would like occur to me to research. So definitely like if you have things that you're wondering about, or like things that have happened to you that have to do with dreaming that you're curious about, send us an email about it, and I'll definitely look into it and see what I can find.
I can look into it too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We love a Trent dream fact.
Yeah.
You should do the one for the next episode.
Oh, yeah. I can do that one.
For the special episode. Or maybe we could do it, maybe we could look into it together.
Yeah. The special episode that we'll talk about at the end.
Mm-hmm. Stay tuned.
Keep listening to this episode. I know you're just about to turn it off, but keep listening.
I can't believe these guys keep talking about weed. I came here to learn about dreams.
Well, you're about to hear some really awesome dreams.
Yeah, you're in luck, because I have some good submissions.
Some really awesome fan submissions.
Mm-hmm. I've got a short but sweet one from Gary. This one's super funny. I was telling Trent earlier that this episode we're doing something, I call it a sad sandwich, and it's when sometimes we get dreams that aren't like, that I think are really cool and worth sharing, but are maybe a little bit sad or spooky. Mm-hmm. And you know, I would never include anything on the podcast that's like a super bummer or like disturbing or like very hard to listen to, because that's not the vibe that we're trying to share. But you know, I was thinking about it before we were about to record, and I think that it's probably more likely that people will remember dreams that had a very powerful effect on them in some way than dreams that were just like happy, nothing, mundane dreams. Mm-hmm. So in general, I feel like we're more likely to get submissions that have either like something really like kind of spooky or scary that happens, or like, you know, some sort of like kind of powerful emotion, because that is something that you will definitely remember when you wake up. So, you know, I like to include them because I still think they're really cool dreams to hear about. But I like to put a goofy dream at the beginning and end just to, you know, get the flavor right in the podcast.
In the sad sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So this one's a funny one from Gary.
Cool.
Not a very long one, but I seem to have a recurrent dream where I'm running from a Freddy Krueger / axe murderer character. In the dream, I seem very unconcerned about the fact that I'm about to die, and I usually make sarcastic comments towards the murderer as I slowly run away. Oh no, I'm about to die, with a heavy eye roll and a head shake. I have never lucid dreamed, and the dreams seem real when I have them. And I seem to have these once or twice a month. I don't know why I act so nonchalant in the dream when I am not so confident in the face of danger when awake. Thanks for listening, Gary.
Very good. Thank you, Gary.
Yeah, it's like really funny and really interesting that you have it like once or twice a month. That seems like a lot to me.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, here's Freddy Krueger again. I guess I'm about to die.
Uh-oh.
Oh man.
Boy, I guess I have to die now. What?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Oh man, hilarious. Thank you, Gary.
I wish I was as confident in my dreams when I'm getting chased.
It's like, oh no, whatever. Yeah, maybe, I don't know, maybe now that I've read that, because I get chased in my dreams frequently as well. And so maybe hearing this will like, maybe I'll like remember it or something and be like, oh, I could just be like sarcastic right now.
Yeah. I'll try and keep it in mind too.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Gary.
And I have a dream from Catherine.
Hey, Catherine.
Hi, Catherine. And Catherine writes, Hi, Alice and Trent. I just had this dream not too long ago. It hit me so hard I needed to write it down to preserve it. I don't always feel like myself in my dreams, but I knew for sure I was myself in this one. I was in a room constructed of aged painted wood, like an old barn. The room was painted mostly in red, white, and beige. There were doors, exposed pipes, latches, and hatches scattered across the walls. Otherwise, the room was mostly empty. Perhaps there was a lone, dusty folding chair off on one side. The only light source in the room was a fluorescent light bulb hanging from a cable in the ceiling. It felt like an abandoned storage room. It was liminal and unsettling. I was accompanied by a small, Thumbelina-sized girl. I don't remember much about her appearance other than having a dress with a petticoat. I remember her voice. She sounded young, no older than 12, and had a slight British accent. Her name was Ruby. Ruby had a shiny black beetle with her that was just big enough for her to sit on and ride around. I somehow knew there were floors below the room we were in, and that Ruby and I needed to find our way down. Scanning the room, I found a compartment in the wall. The compartment opened like an upside-down glove box. In the corner was a small square hole, about 1 inch big. It was obscured in a way that I couldn't see inside, but I could hook my finger around to feel that it was there. The texture was coarse, like crudely cut wood. I guided Ruby, riding her beetle, through the entrance. She traveled down through a tunnel that led to the next floor down. Once she was through, an elevator similar to a dumbwaiter opened up and carried me down after her. Each floor had a different trick to finding the next way down. The goal was always the same: find the compartment for Ruby that then opened the elevator for me. It felt like a video game or an escape room. It was still unclear where we were, why we were there, or where we were going. When I arrived on the 4th floor and stepped out of the elevator, something felt wrong. Ruby and her beetle were not there. I began to look around, calling for her. My heart sank when I heard her crying from inside the walls. She was sobbing like a scared, lost child. All I could think was that she was stuck and needed help. I continued calling out to her, more frantic now. I scoured the walls, opening latches and panels, trying to find any way to get to her. I found the compartment where she was presumably meant to exit from. Suddenly Ruby stops crying and goes quiet. I couldn't hear her at all anymore. But I continued calling her name, now desperate to get her out. I decided to take the elevator back up to the 3rd floor. Maybe I could help her from the other side of the tunnel. As I was stepping out of the elevator back into the previous room, I called out to her again. Ruby? I jolted awake. I felt like I had said her name out loud in my sleep. I tried desperately to fall back asleep. While I was scared to go back to that place, I wanted to find Ruby and make sure she was okay. But it was too late. I couldn't go back. I was awake. I remembered the sound of her crying, and I began to cry too. Thanks for making such a wonderful podcast. I'm always looking forward to the next episode. Dream Team rules. Quath. P.S. Sorry this dream is such a bummer. LOL. But
it is kind of sad, but it's I don't know. And I think part of it is Catherine sent us these really, really lovely drawings of Ruby on her beetle. And I kind of fell in love with her, and I wanted to share them on her Instagram, which I'll plug later.
Yeah.
And I don't know, just seeing the way that Catherine drew her, and I was like, oh, I feel like I was there. This is a really powerful dream. And I'm sorry that it was so sad, but I thought it was really I don't know, vivid, I guess.
Yeah, that's a very good dream. Very sad, but intense.
Yeah, and it kind of struck me too, because it hasn't happened very often to me, but I have had dreams before where I woke up and was affected enough to need to cry for a little bit. It doesn't happen to me a lot, but it is I think a very rare and powerful thing when your brain can come up with something that can affect you so profoundly.
Yeah. I don't know that I've had anywhere I've cried after, but I've had somewhere I'm it just feels haunting. I'm just what the heck?
Yeah, I've definitely had dreams like that as well.
Yeah.
Where you just remember it for the rest of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel if I had this dream, I would probably be thinking about Ruby a lot.
Yeah.
But I hope that she eventually was okay in her dream world. I'm sure that she's fine now.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry that you had a sad dream, Quath, but thank you so much for sharing it with us.
Yeah, thank you for sharing.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was reading it, I did the part where you're it felt like a video game. Because as I was reading it, I was oh, this seems just a video game thing. We got your little sidekick, you got to find the place to send them and stuff.
Yeah, little puzzle rooms. I know that was kind of fun.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you, Catherine.
And to lighten the mood, we have a few dreams from our favorite member of the Dream Team Temple, Jeremy.
Dream Team regular.
And Jeremy writes, "Hi Alice and Trent. I had 2 dreams that I remember from last night. They happened hours apart, but they connected unexpectedly, and I woke up at 4 a.m. and rolled over to put it in my notes app on my phone. I just read through my notes and have pieced together what happened in the dreams for the most part. And Jeremy has a really funny disclaimer here. A quick note before I start. I used some pretty convincing terms in the second dream, like perp, murder suspect, taser, and bad guy. However, I am not a real cop. I just play one in my dreams.
Awesome.
Thank you for clarifying that, Jeremy. We love that for you. So, the first dream says, it is Halloween, and there is a festival in town. My friends and I were walking to the festival, and my friend Mike showed me that he had these stacks of vouchers to spend at the festival. Although not entirely important to the narrative, Mike had these vouchers because he was dating the daughter of the guy who was in charge of the festival. I also remember that the festival guy in charge got rich from owning a successful winery. Anyway, the vouchers were different sizes depending on their dollar value, $10 to $100. The smallest vouchers were the size of stamps, and they were worth the most. I asked my friend if I could see them. As I looked at the thousands of dollars worth of voucher stamps in the palm of my hand, a gust of wind picked up and blew them all over the street we were walking down.
No.
I frantically started running around, trying to find and pick up all of these baby-sized vouchers. Mike stood there gobsmacked, and I could tell, although he would never say this, he was super irritated with me. I remember feeling like I couldn't move fast enough to pick up all the vouchers while they were blowing around, so I took off my police vest, which was part of my costume that evening, and set it in the grass. Then I got to work, picking up the rest of what I had dropped. The dream dissolves at this point. I am disappointed that I probably never actually made it to the festival, although I hope that I helped Mike find all the Halloween festival vouchers.
Oh.
Here, do you want to do part 2?
Yes. Yeah, I can read part 2. Dream number 2. I am a cop and I'm waiting for my partner to come by with a murder suspect outside of the station. My partner drives up and drops off the perp. I set him down in cuffs outside the station on a couch that was there for some reason. My partner goes back to our cruiser and the suspect is crying and saying he didn't do it. I ask my partner as he's headed back to the car if the guy is innocent or a sociopath. He says sociopath, and the guy immediately stops crying and smiles at me.
Whoa.
Yeah. The smile freaks me out, so I reach down to put my hand near my taser, just in case he decides to run or do something untoward.
Untoward, yeah.
I've never heard that.
Really?
Whoa, yeah, what?
Oh. That's like, something untoward, like, something not very polite to do.
No way, what? What? I've never heard that
You didn't think that capers were real.
Oh, that's true too, yeah.
Untoward is a real word.
Okay, interesting.
Jeremy wouldn't do that to you.
No, you're right. I might just leave that in. That's funny. I learned a word today. Untoward. Okay.
Untoward.
Back to the story. The smile freaks me out, so I reach down to put my hand near my taser, just in case he decides to run or do something untoward. It's at this point that I remember that I took my vest off the previous night to pick up the vouchers. Bam, dream connection. I'm in trouble now because my keys, cuffs, tasers, and my gun were on that vest. I have to figure out something before anyone finds out that I lost all my cop stuff. Since I can't drive without my keys, I go to a cruiser and make the bad guy drive. He does not have keys either, but it makes dream sense, so it works. However, he is handcuffed, so I have to lean over and use the steering wheel while he works the pedals. There was one point in the dream where he was going too fast, and I was afraid we were going to be pulled over. So I also had to reach over with my foot and push on the brake pedal in addition to steering. I'm basically sitting in the bad guy's lap by the time we get to where I drop the vouchers and consequently my police vest. We are near a school. I go and look in the grass where I think I put my vest down, and I cannot find it. My mind is racing and going to dark places. It was Halloween last night, so maybe some kid walked by and picked it up while he was trick-or-treating. I'm getting desperate now, and I'm looking in the bushes and places I knew for sure I hadn't said it. Finally, I found the vest with all my stuff and woke up feeling an actual wave of relief that nobody was hurt. Sweet dreams, Jeremy.
Yay!
Yay! Thank you, Jeremy.
It's giving Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
The police car drive.
Yes.
I love that.
Well, I can't drive, so you have to drive.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Yes. Thank you, Officer Jeremy. Oh, wait. He's not a police officer.
No, Jeremy is not a cop.
Just in the dream.
He may know how to use the word perp and taser, but...
Yeah. And he knows the word untoward.
Mm-hmm.
So...
What a classy guy.
I learned some stuff about marijuana in dreams today, and I learned the word untoward.
This is, the actual genre of this podcast is educational.
Yeah. Very good. Thank you, Jeremy. Those are some very interesting dreams.
Yes, thank you. And if you have dreams that you want to send us, as always, as we mentioned earlier, you can send them to dreamteampodcastsubmissions@gmail.com. And you can check out our Instagram at Dreamteam with Alice and Trent, and you can see those lovely drawings that Catherine made of Ruby and her little beetle friend.
Yeah.
And some other visual aids for this episode.
Yeah. Absolutely. And for next episode, again, if you have dreams, definitely send them into that email address. But for next episode, we're doing another special themed episode. So the special theme for next episode is flying. In dreams. Yeah. Basically, Alice and I have talked about this a couple times. We've kind of mentioned it in past episodes, but for both of us, at least, and probably for a bunch of other people, it seems like flying is very different for some people in dreams. I know personally, I'm sure we'll talk about it more in the episode, but for me personally, I know flying is almost like floating, like I'm an astronaut. And I think, Alice, you've mentioned that it's like you're like a bird and you like have to flap your wings, it feels like, I think.
Sometimes, yeah, or it feels like I'm pushing through water.
Oh, yeah. That too, yeah. And for other people, I'm sure there's a bunch of other different ways that it feels like. So we're just going to be talking about that and why we have flying dreams when human beings can't inherently fly. So stuff like that. And yeah, if you have any specific dreams where you fly or that flying is an element of it, definitely send that in.
Yeah, I would love to hear if you have a dream where you flew, even if it's not a major part of the dream, please send it in. If you have a dream that was about flying, please send it in. But we want a lot of participants for the next episode, just because I want to know if you have ever flown in a dream. And it doesn't matter if you don't remember the dream. Like, you don't need to send in a whole dream to participate in the next episode. I just want to know, if you've ever flown in a dream, what does it feel like?
Yeah.
Are you like jumping really big? Are you floating like Minecraft creative mode? Are you like Supermaning it, like fist forward? Are you going really fast or slow? Does it feel like swimming or flapping your arms? Like, flying is something that people can't do. So I think my theory is that our brains come up with all different ways for us to process doing this thing we can't do. And I'm just really curious to hear how you fly in a dream. So yeah, please send us just that little snippet if you have it, if you've ever flown. What does it feel like? Also, keep an eye out in the next 2 weeks. I might do a couple polls on our Instagram.
Yeah. And on the YouTube too. Just
if you don't feel like you can send in an email, or you're just looking for easier ways to participate, I will probably do some polls, just like listing a couple different ways that I've heard of for people flying in dreams, and seeing what percentage of our followers identifies with those things. So keep an eye out on the Instagram and our YouTube as well.
And I think other than that, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, until then, we hope that you keep dreaming and sleeping good.
Get some good sleep, everyone, and yeah.
Good night.
Good night.